Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Sports. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. As always, to the left of me, my boy John. As always, to the right of me, my boy Will. And behind the scenes, behind the camera, behind everything else that we do, our boy Ryan. So thank you for coming and hanging out with us. And as you can see, we're a new location.
We are on location.
We are in a location. We got that little endorsement check, hitting the spots. We got a new spot. No big deal. We got blue walls now. We got blinds. So new spot, new place, and I like it. I'm glad to be here. But John, you got anything to say to people before we start?
No.
Will, what's our quote of the week?
The quote of the week,
or the whatever the week. What is it? Lay it on me.
Okay, I have it ready.
Lay it on me.
I have it ready. You've heard it before.
Okay, good.
John's heard it before. Producer Ryan's heard it before.
Okay.
The quote of the week is "Slow is still forward."
Slow isn't a shout out, Mr. Callahan.
Of course,
Kyle Callahan.
Kyle
Callahan.
Salute.
Teacher, friend,
mentor. Are we not going to invite him on the pod?
I think we might. Kyle.
Permanent invite.
Kyle is always loud on the pod. Always loud on the pod. Slow is still forward. I love it. Great reference. I love it. It's great for us. Ryan, you got anything to say to people before we get started?
I think I'm good.
Think you're good? Wow. Well, Ryan kicked our ass in golf today. So, in case he wants to brag about that, I'll brag for him. He whooped us up the court. No, up the links. Up the links. Thank you. But let's get right to it. We talked about it last time. We're doing our grades for the drafts, and we're still in the AFC, but now we're moving from the AFC East to the AFC North, and we got some homegrown cooking here. We got two Bengals.
Hell no.
No, I'm sorry. I couldn't even say it with a straight face. We got two Browns fans here, and we got one Steelers fan here, so we're going to have some tension in the room. Not sexual, of course. We're not about that here.
Never.
All right. But let's get right to it. Bengals first, because we're doing alphabetical. Bengals first, and Will, why don't you start us off here? Bengals draft, how do we feel like they did? And remember, we are including the whole, if they traded for someone, like the Brown, like when we get to the Browns and you have, Daddy Deshaun, right? Deshaun Watson. So make sure we keep that up front. So, Will, what would you give the Bengals here?
I'm going to give the Bengals. A C+. Only 6 picks. I do like the 2 top picks, Jackson Hill and Taylor Britt. They needed help in their defensive backfield, and those feel like 2 guys who can come in and play and be your starters, or at least earn that spot in the camp. And then they got another backup offensive lineman in the 4th round. You can never have too many of those. But other than that, I think they maybe come out of this draft with 4 contributors in year 1, and in year 2, probably still only 4, maybe even 3.
Okay.
So I might give a C+ just because not a whole lot, I think, is going to keep going
from it?
Yeah.
Well, John?
Eric and I are pretty similar here. I'm giving them a B-. Like Eric said, I like the 2 top picks. They needed to address some help in the secondary. The Bengals, they chose to fix their offensive line in free agency, not the draft. So getting that extra depth on the offensive line helps a little bit. I don't think they really reached for anybody either. So I want to give them a little above average for that. So I think a B- is where I'm going to go with this.
I am actually right in your boat. I was a coin flip, honestly, between a B and a B-. I'm going to go more the B- range for the fact of it is lack of picks that Will mentioned before. I think it doesn't necessarily hurt them, but it sure as hell doesn't help them. They went 3 safeties. I just feel like safeties are such a commodity. There's so many of them that you can get, whether it be addressing in free agency like they did for the offensive lineman. I mean, when you look at this right away, you think, oh my God, they did terrible because they only drafted 1 offensive lineman. But the fact is, like, they did address it in free agency, and that they definitely tried to shore it up and are definitely fixing the issues they had. But I feel like their secondary wasn't, like, the worst in the NFL. It definitely wasn't the best. I mean, Eli Apple is no scrub. And I think Jackson Hill is definitely, saw him play for Michigan for all those years. He was definitely one of their best, if not their best, defensive back. So I think that he definitely got a good pick out of him. And I definitely think they got better but flipping between that B minus, I went more on the B minus side. I feel like they addressed one position too heavily. Three picks of your 6 were one position, and if you really think you're dying that much at that position, I think you should address that in free agency more than you should be addressing it in the draft. Maybe go for that second safety out of Toledo. Maybe go for an offensive tackle. That's kind of my thought process behind it. But at the end of the day, not hateful. So overall score B minus.
What did you give?
C plus,
C+?
B minus overall score. So not bad. Hey, Bengals, not bad. You could have done a hell of a lot worse. So moving on to the next team, the hometown heroes, the hometown faithful. Give me the Browns. John, I feel like you have a lot of pent-up anger and aggression to what the Browns are about to be about this year. So I'm going to let you go last. Will, go ahead. Give me the Browns.
Okay. When I'm looking at the Browns, they got 9 picks, none in the first 2 rounds. So since we're factoring in the fact that you got Deshaun Watson,
Daddy Deshaun.
with this, basically you spent your first and second round picks on Deshaun Watson to be on the Browns for the next 5 years. I'm gonna give them a B plus. If I don't include the Deshaun Watson, it's probably a B minus. Let me tell you why. I don't like Martin Emerson at 68 at all. I don't think he was the best corner on the board. I do like value in outright David Bell and Winfrey from Oklahoma, and the Cade York pick. I know a lot of people think it's a reach to take a kicker in the 4th round, but the Browns have been looking for a kicker for 10 years, and I think just if you see a guy you like, you met with him, just go ahead and make the pick if you like him. So I'm going to give him a B plus. On the backside of the draft room board, he may get a roster spot because right now the Browns have 5 running backs, I believe, on the roster. And they're probably only going to keep 3. So he might not even be on the team. And then in the 6th round and the 7th round, maybe coin flip those guys
Right.
on the team.
Anything could happen.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give it a B plus, just because I like, you get Deshaun Watson for your first and second round picks. Okay, I don't like Martin Emerson at 68.
Yeah. I'll go. That's fine. I'll go. I personally think I should give the Browns, if I wasn't including the Deshaun trade acquisition, I personally was going to maybe give them more to that B minus to C plus range. But factoring it in, I'm giving the Browns an A plus because of a few reasons. One, the Browns have one issue and one issue only, and it is the fact the quarterback position. Offensively, you guys have a ton of weapons. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is definitely going to be that guy for you, and he's definitely going to take that next step for talent and, just being that number 1 guy, if not number 1, a solid number 2. I think he's going to be very comparable to Michael Pittman Jr. He's going to have games where he's going to have 220 receiving yards. He's going to have games where he's going to have 80, but he's still going to be a viable option. But I'm a Colts fan, clearly. Go Horses. I watched Deshaun Watson absolutely torch us for years. And anybody in the AFC South. Now, he would still lose the game, but it's not because of him. Same thing I say about Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford was a great quarterback, a phenomenal quarterback for the Detroit Lions, but he just had the wrong place to be. And I think Deshaun's in that same boat. Deshaun is such a good player. He's so intelligent, he's athletic, and he likes to stay in the pocket and can throw a fucking rope. So I think that the Browns hit it out. Their defense, you guys re-signed Clowney, you paid Denzel, you obviously have Myles Garrett. So your defense isn't really the issue. I like the fact that you shored up more some spots on the defensive end with a tackle, a cornerback, and a D-end as well. But the one concern I feel like you guys should have maybe addressed would be a tight end issue. I know you brought back Njoku, but Hooper wasn't obviously, setting the world on fire. But I feel like maybe use one of those draft picks. Maybe take the Alex Wright and flip that for a tight end instead of a D-end. I feel like you guys are pretty shored up on the D-end. But when you had this draft, before Clowney re-signed, so maybe that's the reason you picked him. But I think you guys smashed it out of the park. I don't think you gave up too much for him. I hope he can play for you guys whenever, if everything else goes according to plan. I hope as it's going, he's going to play right away. So I hope that works out for you. But I think you guys got an A+ for me. You answered the one major question you had. You have the offensive weapons, you have the tools, and you solved it. John?
So if I'm not including the Deshaun Watson trade, it's probably about a C+. I'm not a huge fan of Martin Emerson or Alex Wright in the 3rd round. But since I'm including the Deshaun Watson, it's an A. I think addressing the quarterback situation, huge. Browns needed a kicker. The Browns haven't had a kicker since Phil Dawson, and it's been bad. So having a kicker is huge. I think the Browns got good value in David Bell in the 3rd round. At the time, I didn't like that the Browns traded their 2nd round pick to trade down because there were still some good wide receivers on the board. But I think overall the Browns had a good draft. They had a lot of picks. They added some depth. And then, I think they got good value in K. Dior, David Bell. We'll see about Perion Winfrey, see how he picks up. But I'll give it an A. I think having Deshaun Watson is huge. For the Browns moving forward. You got him for 5 years. So,
yeah,
give him an A.
Definitely great, especially the fact that you're not paying him shit this year. So that really helps out as well, too. But moving on from them, you got the Ravens next, correct?
The Ratbirds, yes.
That's the Ravens. So moving on for the Ravens, have you gone first yet?
I have not.
All right, John, go first.
So Ravens, they're getting an A as well. I thought they had a really deep draft, and they have some really, I'm giving them an A+.
Okay.
They had a lot of good picks, a lot of good value here. I think Kyle Hamilton's a good safety. You got David Ojabo from Michigan. He's a beast. They got one of the best centers in the draft. I think they had an awesome draft. They had a lot of picks, good value. I'm giving them an A+.
Well,
unfortunately, this is easily an A+ here. Actually, no, not easily an A+.
wait.
Well,
Go on.
no.
Talk your shit. Talk your shit.
I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, wow, this is a really good draft. Ojabo 2nd round, great value, the best interior offensive lineman, probably the whole draft in my opinion, in Linderbaum from Iowa, Kyle Hamilton, one of, if not the best defensive back that was in the draft. You got a bunch of nice 4th round picks, Penn State, Alabama corner, Minnesota offensive tackle.
They lived in the 4th round.
Yeah.
How many picks is it?
They had
11 picks.
They had 6 in the 4th round. The 4th round literally was the Baltimore Ravens, everybody else.
So
I was watching this draft, and I was like, holy fuck, do the Ravens, who the hell, they could have just taken, I felt like, the whole 4th round. Like, just come with us. Come to Baltimore. They killed it in the 4th round, but go on.
But then I think, wait a second, hold on. Wait just a minute.
Waiting a minute.
How did the Ravens get this 2nd first-round pick?
I think you're going to bring up what I was
They
going to bring up.
traded one of their only real offensive weapons in Hollywood Brown, and they did not replace him anywhere on this list of 11 players. So, this is an A+ group of players.
Yeah.
It doesn't fill the obvious need that you created to get this group of players. So I'm actually going to bump it down to an A-. It's still an A just because it's a great group of players to bring on rookie contracts, but you had to sacrifice one of your only offensive weapons, one of your weakest position groups. You gave up your best one, and now it's like Lamar and Mark Andrews are gonna have to
Play catch.
2-man show.
Yes.
So I'm gonna drop it down to A.
So that is the sole reason why I'm going to be the only one. By the way, Browns, their average score was a B+, right?
I gave him an A.
You gave him an A. I gave him an A+.
I gave him a B+, so it's probably A.
Yeah,
So
A overall. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so A overall. Sorry about that. I forgot to mention that. But the Ravens, see, that's where I was the coin flipping, right? Because we are including the trades and stuff. I'm dropping them from. I had them in as an A, like you said, Will. You had took the words right out of my mouth. These picks, the amount of picks, the amount of depth they got from everything. They didn't hammer one position. I think the one that they drafted the most out of, I think, was defense with a safety, D tackle, cornerback, and then cornerback again. Maybe a flip on the offensive side, but the fact that you traded away your best player other than Lamar Jackson, I feel like Justin Tucker, of course. So, other than Justin Tucker, and just for not to replace him, was your O-line that bad to where you gave away your best player, one of the best receivers in the NFL, especially in the AFC, for a center in the first round, which is great. And like you said, you think he's going to be a fucking stud. I think he was great. He was definitely one of the best pass protectors in the Big Ten, maybe in the country. But you didn't even address the issue. And for a wide receiver heavy draft that this was, I feel like they had a really good opportunity to do that, and they didn't get it. And they didn't get it done. So I'm dropping them to a B+. I'm dropping them out in an A range. I think, like you said before, Will, if you just look at the numbers and look how many people they draft, A+ for sure, A-, A+, no doubt. But because they traded away Hollywood Brown, and trust me, and you saw Lamar Jackson not happy about it, very upset. Yeah. Immediately went to Twitter and was like, "What the hell just happened?" So I'm dropping them for that reason. Obviously, they got great depth, they got great studs, and they got great players. And like I said, they lived in that fourth round, which is huge for them because you can get a lot of really good value out of the fourth round and later on. But I'm dropping them out B+. So A+,
Yeah,
A-, B+, overall score A-.
Okay.
Right? Because B+, A-,
We'll give it
A-. So good job, Ravens. Right now you're winning. You're winning.
I'm tied. Did we give the Browns an A?
Yes, we did. Sorry. Browns are winning. My fault. I need to fucking write this stuff down. Moving on to our final team, the Steelers. We got to go to the Steelers. And
The Steelers.
I think I'll go first because I know you guys have a lot of pent-up anger towards the Steelers. So I'll go first, and I'll just knock them out. I'm going to go because, Dewey Haskins, RIP, really throws a lot of issues into this now. I'll go with a B, just a flat B. Okay, I feel like the Steelers' biggest thing that they needed to address was quarterback. Is Kenny Pickett the answer? I don't know. Is Mitchell Trubisky the answer? I don't know. Mitchell Trubisky hasn't been a starting quarterback since he left the Bears, and when he was at the Bears, you don't know if you blame the quarterback necessarily, or do you blame Matt Nagy because he still took that team to the playoffs with Matt Nagy, who's well understood, not a good coach. So I think they have some. Maybe this is a stopgap, just maybe for the next year. They drafted Kenny Pickett, who could be a stud. He was a stud at Pittsburgh. Finished fourth in the Heisman voting, I believe. I think he finished last.
Finished fifth.
Who finished ahead of him?
So it was
C.J. Bryce, A.J., and then him, right?
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, and then Pickett, because Pickett went.
Okay, he finished fourth. That guy from
so,
Alabama finished fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, he's going to be probably a solid guy. Is he going to be the face of your franchise? Probably not. I think they definitely answered potentially some wide receiver issues. George Pickens, I think, is going to be incredibly undervalued. I think he's going to be very good. I know he's a second-round pick, but I think he has a lot of upside. He's got great size, got great speed. Then you also look at the Memphis wide receiver, Calvin Austin III. I think that he could be really good as well. But I don't like necessarily the 7th round, the South Dakota State quarterback pick. To me, you have Mitch Trubisky, you have Kenny Pickett. Let those guys duke it out. The likelihood of both of them getting injured and this guy playing, I feel like you could have maybe snagged another wide receiver, maybe snagged some other. So I'm going to go with a B. I feel like they could have solved some other issues that they had at the quarterback position, or just like I said, maybe this is a stopgap. And if you knowing going in this is going to be a stopgap, trade that first round pick away and try and get either players, somebody else, or just don't draft a quarterback. You brought in Mitchell Trubisky for a reason. Bring in somebody else that's going to be bring in Nick Foles. Nick Foles is a free agent. Colts just signed him. Like, bring in Nick Foles. Bring in a Baker Mayfield. Obviously, they wouldn't, trade for that, but maybe you could offer something for that and get at least a viable option other than maybe waiting just for the next year. So I'm going B with the Steelers. Not terrible, not great, but kind of in that area. I was flipping between B and B-. John?
This is tough. I think I'm going to give them a C. It wasn't a bad draft. I do think reaching for Pickett was bad. I think next year's draft is going to be QB heavy. This was not. And I don't think they really needed another QB. I think Trubisky is better than people think. I don't think, especially in the AFC North, I don't know how far they'll get with him, but I think they could have held off a year for another quarterback. I do think they got good value in George Pickens in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about him having personal problems. I mean, I don't
Those
know.
can be put away real quick, yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I think Calvin Austin's actually another good pick there in the fourth round. Another good wide receiver out of Memphis. I'm just gonna give him an average C.
Mm-hmm.
They had about 7 or 8 picks here. Reached for Pickett, got good value in Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a C.
All right. What do you think, Will? Lay it on me.
All right. So I'm actually gonna go with similar to what John said. I'm gonna give him a C plus though, because I do think. Well, let me just start out by saying that an incredible overdraft of Kenny Pickett. No, an incredible overdraft. I mean, you picked him at 20. Well, another quarterback wasn't taken until pick 74.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? We could have waited to the end of the second round.
Now, before you go on this tangent, let me ask you this: if you think that they passed on him, do you think that they were there? Kenny Pickett's still there, second round, pick 20. What was their next pick? Do you think he's still there?
I think the Steelers are the only team that was dumb enough to take spend a first round pick on a quarterback in the draft. When you think about you're looking at the next QB draft, where there's going to be 2 studs, and then
potentially, yeah.
And then there's several other QBs who may possibly end up in the first round.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the Steelers were the only goofballs that were going to take this tiny hand guy in the first round. It's true, though.
What's with the whole tiny hand?
He has tiny hands?
I just say that. That doesn't mean you're a bad quarterback.
Did you
Drew
see
Brees
him
had tiny hands, and he's fucking all famous.
See him hold that like Apple hair cord? I mean, it's small in his hand.
Yeah, listen. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And then, now, I do like a lot of other things that are going on in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think George Pickens, I did hear the same thing about the personnel issues. I think he's kind of just a guy who's like kind of immature right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to get in that NFL,
Mindset.
system and like kind of take himself a little bit more seriously. And then
He also had the greatest draft video ever. Isn't that the guy that?
yeah,
Who's
by
looking at his TV?
greatest, you meant dumb.
That was awesome. That made me so happy. I don't care what anybody says. I love it.
Leal in the third round from Texas A&M is pretty good. Is pretty good value, and Calvin Austin in the third from Memphis is another weapon who should help Kenny Pickett and his tiny little hands do something on the field. 6th and 7th round, it's like, I mean, we took another QB who's not going to make the roster.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the point. Yeah, I don't know. But
And that's what I was saying. Just take somebody.
So I'm going to give it a C plus.
All right. So C plus, B minus,
C plus.
overall score C plus. All right. So shout out the Ravens, Browns for getting great grades.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out the Bengals for just being the Bengals, just being okay. And then Steelers. What are we doing? Ryan, get your boys straight. All right. Fucking trash. But moving on from the NFL talk, we're going to kick it over to the NBA talk. The third round, the conference championships. You got out west. You got Luka the Don. And it's just Luka the Don, really. I mean, you have Spencer Dinwiddie, I guess.
If Spencer Dinwiddie shows up, maybe the Mavs can make the game a little close.
Right. And then in the East, you got Miami, you got Boston, you got Jimmy Buckets, Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo versus Tatum, Horford, Brown. Great matchups overall. But we're winding it down. I think this time by next week, we'll probably have our NBA Finals set up. So shout out the NBA Finals, and we'll be having a special guest on the NBA Finals. We will.
Who?
Don't worry about it. Maybe arguably the best two guard in the league. Maybe the best two guard in the league. We all watched him play basketball for 3 years, 2 years, 2 or 3 years, depending on when you watch him in high school. He was a college athlete. But we'll get to that. Those are just little tidbits. Don't. No, I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you at the end. I'll tell you off there. But we'll definitely have probably our NBA Finals set and match. But let's see this. Obviously, you can argue the Western Conference is kind of very lopsided. Warriors leading commandingly 3-0. I think there's been 146 games that have been played, and nobody's come back from a 3-0 deficit.
It is halftime. Currently, the Mavericks are up 62-47.
Live score?
Live score update. Da-na-na, da-na-na.
I was gonna say, but he beat me to it.
Yeah, bastard. So you could obviously sit there and argue just that, hey, the Warriors are fucking good. Nothing new there, and they're just wiping the floor with the Mavs. But those games have been decently close. Some of them have been blowouts. But, I mean, Lucas had 40 points in back-to-back games for the Mavs. Somebody do a live score check on what Lucas got right now, just kind of see where he's at.
Lucas got 13 and 9 boards, 3 assists.
Okay, so he's not having a very... Who's been balling for him? Is it Bullock?
Actually, they got Jalen Brunson's got 13.
A little bit spread out?
DFF's got 11. Bullock's got 9.
Hey, shout out. Okay.
Dinwiddie's only got 2.
Hey, so a little bit spread out, so that's good. That's what the Mavs need. Then you look into the East, and you see very, very odd 4 games, I'd have to say. It's very lopsided / very not, and then it's very back. It's just a very odd series, I feel like. But it's split 2 games apiece. Game 5 is tomorrow in Miami. So we'll really see how, that swings either way. But before we go any further, what have we been seeing that's like a big surprise? Well, you want to go first? Let's go out west.
Going out west, the big surprise here is really, honestly, the surprise to me is how the Mavericks have had Luka be the center point of the franchise for, what is it? Is this year?
I think this is third year.
3? This is year 3, and they have not built anything close to a competitive roster. I mean, this is 07 LeBron level roster. No, it is.
It is.
And, honestly, a lot of people, Sasha Pavicic back in that 07 roster, he held out because the Cat, he was getting offers from other teams. So, that roster kind of gets a little overhate. Yeah. And I think people are not focusing on how terrible this roster is. And I think that's the biggest surprise, and it's totally coming to light once the Mavericks are facing the Warriors, and it is the Luka the Don show. That's all we have. That's our plan.
It's basically 5 guarding 1, and they're not even guarding the 1 very well. Yeah. I think the Warriors are at the point where it's like, all right, Luka, you can have 40. I don't give a shit. You can have 40 all you want. Yeah. We'll just guard everybody else decently. But John, out west, what's the biggest surprise so far? 3-0. It's never been done before.
Yeah, give the Warriors the series win now. It's what are we doing here? It is Luka the Don and everybody else. There's not really much else to say. The roster around the Mavericks sucks. I am a little surprised. If you would have told me 2 months before the playoffs that the Warriors should be going to the NBA Finals, I would have been surprised. Yeah. So if you want to count that as a surprise, it's surprising. They've blown out the Mavericks. It hasn't even been close. Yeah. The 15-point lead is the hardest lead to protect in basketball. So the Mavericks did win 1 game. So we'll give them the 1 win, but this is bad.
Yeah. I actually think I'm going to go the inverse of you two. The biggest surprise out west for me is not on the Mavericks. The biggest surprise for me is how well Andrew Wiggins is playing. I'm not going to lie. I kind of wrote him dead in the water many a year ago. I thought he was just a very, first-round draft pick. Cavs basically picked him, and they're like, no, we're going to ship his ass to, Memphis and get, Minnesota, thank you. Minnesota to get K-Love to the Cavs. And I think that they were right in doing that. I think Andrew Wiggins is a very, very good, hey, I'm going to be the best player on a very bad team, which he was for so long. But as soon as he gets on a good team, I just figured he'd be like the 4th and 5th option because he just hasn't been that good. But he's been playing the style of basketball that is going to be successful for him. He's going to be the 3rd option, 3rd or 4th option. When he gets that, he's going to give you boards, he's going to give you points, and he's just going to be a very good role player. And I feel like he's done that very, very well for them. And I think the Warriors are 6 or 7-0 in the playoffs when he scores 17 points. So, when he gets just does what he's supposed to do, not be too crazy, be a good defender, get decent buckets when we give it to you, I think he's been great. So I think it's definitely good. People write him off as a bust, and now he's not a bust, playing well for them. I feel like that to me is the biggest surprise because we knew Steph's going to be Steph. We knew Clay's going to be Clay. We knew Draymond's going to be Draymond. We obviously know Jordan Poole's going to be fucking Jordan Poole now. Say that 3 months ago, I think it's a surprise. State now nobody's shook by it. So I think that's the biggest surprise. But let's flip it to the East now. Biggest surprise, what are takeaways so far? 2-2 series. I think the stats are when you win game 5, you go on to win the series 85% of the time or some shit. So what do we like here? What's the biggest surprise, John?
I just like the series. It's a good series. I'm surprised it's been as close as it has. The individual games haven't been real close, besides that one game where the Heat were up
26 or something,
and the Celtics kind of came back a little bit. But it's just been a fun series to watch. Jason Tatum's been awesome. Butler's been good. It's just been fun.
Yeah. Well,
man, what is the biggest surprise here? I don't even know if it's a surprise. Well, maybe it is a surprise because you've got the number 1 team in the East playing the number 2 team in the East.
right.
Miami Heat were, pretty hot the whole year.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics been playing their best basketball for the last 4 months and haven't slowed down a bit. And we get these games, and it's one night we can't miss, and the next night no one is making a shot at all. I think it was something. I think it was last night. The Heat had the starters had 6 points.
No, we had 18 points through the whole game, and then we didn't make our first field goal until 4 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, think about if Victor Oladipo was.
Oh my god, would have been so bad. Shout out my boy Vic.
And then
straight up, come on.
That's what I'm talking about. Where, it's the biggest surprise that these are the 2 best teams in the East. And I get NBA season's long, playoffs are hard, but you look at the Warriors, and honestly, you look at the Mavericks and what Luke is doing. You're not really slowing down right now.
Yeah.
And it's unexplainable. It's unexplainable.
Well, I think I can help you.
Okay,
I think I can help explain
Go ahead.
just a little bit. To me, the biggest surprise is how poor the officiating has been. And I'm not one to say, the refs blew a game, or I'm saying the refs drastically alter, because at the end of the day, they are fucking professional athletes. But the biggest problem I'm having is last night the Heat lost by 20, 102-82, right? Bad game, right?
Just bad.
Let me ask you this question: who do you think had the better field goal percentage, Celtics or Heat?
Well, Celtics won by 20. That'd be Celtics.
I would say the Celtics had to have been better.
Celtics had. They shot 38% for 38% from field. Not like the world on fire. That's okay. That's above average. Probably. Yeah, definitely good enough to win a game. The Heat shot 32%, so they shot 6% better.
It's higher than I thought it was.
Not great. Not good. But that's not oh my god, it's a 25-point win. Like when the Heat lost to the Sixers in Game 3, we shot 13% from 3 and 30% from the field. They shot 50% from both. You'd be like, that's why they won by 20. All right, 3-point percentage. Who had the better 3-point percentage, Celtics or Heat?
I would guess the Heat.
I would guess the Celtics.
Celtics. The Heat did. Okay. By a wide margin.
Oh.
We shot 37% from the field, and they shot, I think, 25% from 3. So you're like, okay, that's fine, okay. Do you know who had more points off of turnovers last night?
I would guess the Celtics.
I would also guess the Celtics.
It was the Heat by about 10 more points. You know who had more turnovers?
Yeah, who had more turnovers? I would guess okay.
Celtics had more turnovers. Celtics had more turnovers. The Heat had about 7 less turnovers, I believe, off the top of my head. But you know what I thought was the biggest takeaway? How many fucking free throws do you think the Celtics shot?
I don't have the number off the top of my head.
Just
I'm
guess.
gonna go with it's got to be something crazy. I'm gonna go with 33.
33?
Shoot, I was gonna say 32, so I'm gonna say 31.
38.
Oh, I was close to that going.
They made 32. 32 of their 38. Great.
That's a lot.
How many free throws do you think the Heat shot last night?
I'm gonna go with
16.
8.
14.
Oh,
shit!
I was close to that going.
So then you look at game 3 when the Heat won, right?
Uh-huh.
And we had a 26-point lead, right? We're blowing them out the entire game. Literally led from tip-off to the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Had a 26-point lead. The Celtics had 34 free throws attempted. 32. The Heat had 14 again. So you're telling me in the 2-game span, the Celtics have shot 68 free throws, and the Heat have shot 28 free throws. The Celtics have shot 40 more free throws than the Heat. that Celtics are playing such better defense. The best defense in the world where they're not committing fouls, especially in the paint. You're telling me that's true? That's what's not true. You're not gonna convince me of that. So the problem I have is the Celtics won by how much again last night? 20 points. They made 32 fucking free throws. If you just take, to me, that's a drastic issue. And the biggest problem I have with the officiating is Stephen A. Smith said before the game, as an NBA analyst, as a person just third party removed, and he's a Knicks fan, so I don't think he really has a dog in the fight here. He said the Heat aren't going to get any calls tonight. We all know that. And every single person on the panel is like, yep, you're right. Why is that a precedent? How does everybody know that and it's not an issue? I think Scott Foster was the lead official last night. He was. I think it's like when teams are the losing team or the team that's winning the series has it as the lead official, they've like lost every game this postseason. Like he's like 8-0 against it. Isn't that like how can you have that be that much of a disparity and not be addressed? That's to me the biggest surprise I've taken away from these last two games. Obviously, the first game, the biggest surprise too is that it's been a blowout in the first quarter every game. And it's just been the flip-flop. I think the Heat led by 26 game one. Celtics won by 20, led by 25 after the first quarter in game two. Game three, it was like 28. And then game three for the Celtics, game four for the Celtics last night was 11-29. So what's that, 18 or something like that for the first quarter? But like the first half, it's like 25 point spreads. So to me, that's the biggest takeaway I'm having. If you just give the Heat an average free throws of, let's just say 24 attempts, 25 attempts, and they make a decent average of, 80%? So put them in like 18 to 19 range, and then you shoot the Celtics, drop them down from fucking 38 attempts down to, just do 30 attempts. Still give them a ton of attempts. That game's not a 20-point blowout. And that's the problem I have that people aren't bringing up enough. How do you have this disparity in refereeing and how they're doing all these great things? We had competitive shooting percentages, and we had more fast break points. We lost the points in the paint battle. They had like 10 more points in the paint, but that to me is a huge disparity. I feel like that's the biggest surprise that I'm seeing in these playoffs because I feel like the refereeing in the playoffs hasn't been overtly that good. Draymond Green can sit there and bench out a referee for 5 minutes and not get a technical, but as soon as Spencer Dinwiddie, which I saw happen, say he hit my arm to the referee immediately teed him up. That makes no sense. So I think that's the biggest takeaway I have from the East side and the West side, as well as kind of the unofficiating. And I think those are good takeaway points. That would be interesting. But for the Heat and the Celtics, now it's a best of three. And when you look at the Warriors, Mavs, it's very one-sided. You got to have them trying to fight back from a 3-0 deficit. But let's talk about who do you think is going to overcome and come out of these. I feel like we should start with the West first, just because I feel like that would be the easiest one. Do we like the Mavs, Warriors finishing this out? Who do we like and how many games?
I mean, this is a tough one. I think you got to go Warriors here.
Yeah.
I think they're going to squeak it out in 5.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the Mavericks win tonight. It's like just one of those games where the Warriors know that this Boston-Miami series is going to go the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, we got some time.
Yeah.
We're traveling out they're out in Dallas.
Yeah.
They can lose one here, come back to Golden State, get their rest, win at home in 5 games.
And wrap it up. Mavs, Warriors.
Before the series started, my pick was Warriors in 6. It's going to be adjusted to Warriors in 5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, just like what John said, this game that they're currently losing by like 14 points feels like one of those where it's just like, we're taking it easy. We don't care.
Yeah.
And then in game 5 when they're back home, they'll win by 3.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Mavs in 7.
Let's go.
The Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cavs. Can't remember if you know that. Only team that's ever done that in NBA Finals history. So might as well fucking be the only team that's blown a 3-0 lead.
And in the Western Conference Finals.
Just in any Finals history. I think in any history. I think it's any series history
ever.
So might as well just double down on that. Mavs are going to create history. And then it's going to be then they're going to go to the finals. And then they're going to get swept. No, I think John said it best. They're going to win this game. Go back to home. Obviously, Golden State Arena is really hard to play in. The crowd's right on top of you. It's an electric atmosphere. I think the Warriors are going to win in 5. I had the Warriors in 5 as well before the series started. I know you had them in 6, but I had them in 5 just for the fact that they're good from starting 5 to. I mean, the Warriors' best player arguably is Kevin Looney. So He's been absolutely lighting the world on fire and been the most consistent player for them.
Yeah, when Kevin Looney and Andrew Wiggins are the best two players on the court, and Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Jordan Poole are also on the team,
Yeah, that helps.
You're never going to lose.
Yeah,
It's impossible to lose.
So I feel like that's a good thing for them. So I think looking at that, I'm gonna take them in 5, which will be good because it kind of lines up with what I picked before the series started. But looking to the Eastern Conference, Celtics Heat 2-2 split, best of 3. Who snags it, and why, and when, and where? John.
So this series is going 7 games. I think we're in for the long haul here. I'm gonna go with the Boston Celtics. I think they do end up pulling out Game 7 in not the Garden.
They are in FTX Arena.
In Miami. I'll say Miami. I do think they pull it out. I think they've just had such a good second half of the year to where I just kind of trust them a little more. It's tough. I do think it goes 7 games either way. I'm just gonna side towards the Celtics here.
This is a tough one. This one, who is going to win the series?
Could be a coin flip.
I don't know. I did pick Celtics in 6 before the series started.
Could still happen.
Could still happen. I've not been following the injury, reports for JB or
he's fine.
If Marcus Smart's going to play or
he's up in the air.
So I don't know. And right today, I'm just going to keep Celtics in 6 just because it's still an option, and I'm going to pick it.
Ride with the first.
I'm just riding with it. Yeah,
I respect that. Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, if JB is going to drop, another 40 ball,
It's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, then it's hard to beat. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna take actually the Heat in 6. I think the Heat win the next 2. Yes. I think that's a really hard pick to do. I like John's Celtics in 7. I'd prefer to be Heat in 7 because the Celtics are arguably the greatest team ever assembled after they lose a game. They are 7-0 in the postseason. Jason Tatum dropped 30 on an average, 30 plus points after a loss, especially when you get 21 of those points from the free throw line. That helps. But I think I like Heat in 6 in the fact that you never put an animal in a corner, right? I think that the Heat have responded all year to adversity with injuries in their 4 best players. Then you have, the depth that they have. And I just don't think you're going to have a night. I don't think Jimmy Butler, the way he's been playing this entire postseason, Eric Spoelstra, and the whole team is going to have as bad as a night they had last night. There's no way I can see us going into the fucking 4th minute of the quarter, left in the quarter, and not having a field goal. Or the fact that you're going to have your starters have only 18 points, right? And that's still a little bit skewed just because, when it came down to the 4th quarter, it's Jimmy didn't go back in the game. PJ sat out. I think everybody else was going to be really good. I think having Tyler Hero take last night off because of a groin injury is going to get his mind right and going to be come back better. And I like the Heat in 6. I think that if they win in Miami and they win in a bully ball fashion, I think they can go back in the Garden and kind of do that same thing what they did with the Sixers. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes in 7. I think this is a coin flip. I'm going to take my Heat in 6. I just think that we're going to be more prepared and more, ready for what's coming ahead and just know how to handle the punch. And the biggest problem I think for each team that they've had struggled this round is who the hell's going to play each night, right? First 2 games, you didn't have Kyle Lowry play at all. Well, Al Horford missed game 1 and Marcus Smart missed game 1. Okay, then you go game 2. Well, Robert Williams misses game 2, but Al Horford and Marcus Smart are back. Kyle Lowry didn't play. Then you go game 3. Jimmy Butler doesn't play the second half because of a knee injury off of fucking Peyton Pritchard, thank you. With, I don't want to say a dirty play, but a very non-basketball, very odd. Why are you grabbing at his leg? Very weird thing to do. Especially because he was going by. There's no need to foul him by grabbing his leg or tripping him like you did, but it is what it is. And then you don't have Robert Williams again for game 3. And then now for game 4, you don't have Tyler Hero. You have everybody else being back. And then it's just been a very ebbs and flow of who the fuck's going to play tonight. I think from now moving forward, you're going to have a much better idea of who's going to be playing. I think everybody's going to figure their shit out, and everybody's going to be back and fully, not healthy, but going to be playing these games. So I like the Heat's depth, and I like their respondability or responding to that first punch and everything like that. So I don't think these blowouts in the first quarter are going to be a continuous theme. I think that's going to stop now because of that having constant flow of who the hell's going to play. So I think I like the Heat in 6. Hopefully break that record of going undefeated after the loss. So if the Heat win tomorrow, and you might as well fucking hammer Celtics to win because they're fucking undefeated. But I like the Heat in 6, so we're gonna keep with that and stick with it. But so far, I feel like the next question is kind of redundant of which series has been our favorite. I feel like it's hard to pick the Mavericks series and the Warriors series with how lopsided it has been. But what series has been our favorite?
I mean, honestly, neither of them are worthy of being my favorite.
Yeah.
So the Heat Celtics they played 4 games, they played 4 games.
Game 5 tomorrow.
2 of them were good.
Yeah.
The other 2 were not.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll take that one just because there's 2 competitive games at least. I mean, the Celtics came roaring back, and then the Heat took it over again. So, I guess I'll go Heat Celtics, just because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you said it best. Mavs in 7, so
That's going to be the best series.
Yeah, so some might say this series hasn't even started yet.
So true.
So Western Conference for sure.
Actually, I'm gonna believe it or not, it is kind of like a surprise. I will say I like the Mavs and Warriors series just a little bit better. The Heat and Celtics series, it's just obviously being a Heat fan is really pissing me off because you just sit there and be like, this is not how we play basketball, and then you watch one when we blow them out, and we're like, this is just not even like they're not even playing good. So like that's kind of annoying. But I do like the fact I know it's been 3-0, but it's cool just to see if I can look at Dockets. Just be like, I'll just get more points by myself. Sure, fuck it. Yeah, I'm 23 years old and I'll just ball on everybody. It's been a lot of fun to watch and watch his swagger and watch his play style. And I know I'm not the only one saying this. I do not like the Warriors. I hate how much they've won and how consistently they've won. I feel like a lot of NBA fans are like that. But it has been, they're just a fun group of people to watch.
So, consider this an anti-Warriors podcast.
This is an anti-Warriors podcast. They have 3 rings, all fraudulent.
Oh, 100%.
3 fraud.
Should be
3
4 Cavs rings.
3, I don't know about 4 Cavs rings, 3 fraudulent rings for sure, no doubt about it. I will die on that hill. Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving play all the finals. Cavs won that in 5, actually. So I don't even think it's close. But it is what it is. Moving on, we're wrapping up the show. We've gotten our NBA talking.
We've done it.
We've gotten our NFL grades in.
We've put them in.
They're in.
Yeah.
We're tapped in.
Report
cards have been sent to each team, letting them know how it is.
Well, the AFC team.
The AFC North and AFC East.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten everything else. We're getting to the AFC South
next week.
Yeah, South.
South next week.
AFC South.
South next week. Hey,
You're cold.
shout out the Colts. We're gonna get to them next week. But as always, we got our next part of the day of who do we think is going to be in the show next week? Have you guys gotten any more thoughts?
Okay.
Have you gotten any more?
I mean, do you want us to actually guess?
No, you can guess a little bit. I'm not gonna tell fans. I'm just saying who you think. As Ryan's getting this 2-minute drill set up and he's getting everything going, who do we think are guesses? I'm giving you some little hints.
So we went to high school with them?
We did go to high school with him.
Okay.
Best 2-way player. Led the team in scoring our freshman year. He was a senior. That should help a little bit. Led the team in scoring.
Hold on.
Final 14 lost to Carlton Bragg. My brother said Carlton Bragg's. Your mom's a hoe. And Carlton Bragg almost fought my brother.
I know who it is.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
He's coming on this
He's
pod.
coming on this pod. I talked to him yesterday. He said he's going to come on the pod.
For like segment, or he's
He's going to come on. He's going to talk NBA Finals. He's going to talk NBA Finals with us. You got a guess? Don't say that. Just think in your head. Do you have a guess?
I know who it is.
All right.
Did I say it right?
No, I'll let you know. Off here. But you as fans, you can guess. I don't know how you guess, but you can figure it out. You can guess.
So we went to high school.
But we did go to high school, so I'm sure you can figure it out. And he's
Former collegiate athlete.
former collegiate athlete, retired. But Ryan, Ryan, you got the 2-minute drill set up? Are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it a stack with all of us here. Listen, we need to focus up.
Yeah.
We have been dog shit these past few
We got
weeks.
2-game losing streak.
We got 2-game losing streak,
Yeah.
bounce back.
Yeah.
quick answers, quick responses. Give a little context to it, but don't just be like, oh no, they're out. You know,
We'll
just
get some substance.
we'll get some substance.
Yeah.
But Ryan, whenever you're ready, please hit us with it.
Are we just gonna not reveal?
The person?
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna do it. We're gonna have him come on as a surprise camera entrance. He's gonna be like, this is our guest. It's like we did last time when Will couldn't be here. We got a special guest on. We're gonna do basically the same thing. So Ryan is a 2-minute drill, up, ready. By the way, everything bagel, still the best bagel. Is there?
Yes.
Correct.
Everything bagel is.
Give me the 5 cheese bagel.
5 cheese bagel.
Yeah.
So ass.
No, I will not.
All
That
right,
is all right.
ready?
I'm ready. Well, we're gonna try to be.
And all right.
Let's do it.
Reds throw a combined no-hitter and still lose. Is this the most Reds thing ever?
Yes. It
Yeah.
is the most Reds thing ever. Even though they've won a couple games recently.
Hey, won a couple series. You know? So yes, most red thing ever so far for this season.
I
Yes.
mean, I don't know what you mean by most Reds thing ever. Just wild.
All right,
Just wild.
You're gonna have to help me pronounce this guy's name.
Go on. What? Try it.
Holland.
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 Yes.
He's arguably the best player in the world right now.
Disgusting. Plays for Dortmund.
I don't know.
Not anymore.
Cristiano Ronaldo's up there.
Stop it. Suck my ass. Go on.
Joins a stacked Man United team. Is this going to be a dynasty run?
Man City. Man City, actually.
Man
yes,
City, best team in the world.
yes, they just won the league. So yeah, they're going to be disgusting. Everybody's going to be playing for
I'm
second.
gonna get a jersey.
No, Man City's overrated as fuck.
Next one.
All right. Rookie pitcher Reed Detmers
Sure.
throws a no-hitter for the Angels. New Rookie of the Year candidate.
I mean, do you get rookie of the year for playing one game? I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think so.
No, but he's put his name in the conversation.
For sure.
All right. Steelers don't leave a time zone. Eastern time zone this year. With their schedule, and they travel the fewest miles. Is this a big advantage for them?
Yeah, this is a major advantage.
Huge advantage.
Yeah.
Personally, I can't believe they got away with this.
I looked this up. The Browns only have one game outside of the Eastern time zone,
Oh,
traveling to Houston. So
That's
I think that is.
All right. Justin Thomas, JT, won the PGA Championship. It's trailing by 7 strokes going into the final round. This is one of the best comebacks ever.
When I think Cubs 2016 World Series, Cavs 2016 NBA Finals, JT coming back down Central.
Yeah, I don't know about one of the greatest comebacks ever, but definitely for golf. For golf, that's got to be the most recent history.
I think this is second behind the Red Sox Yankees 2004 ALCS.
That is so true.
So
Perfect.
Did we make it?
Perfect.
That's how we-
I will say this. When it comes to the PGA Championship, maybe not one of the best comebacks ever, but probably one of the biggest chokes ever from
Oh,
the
Pierre.
person that was leading.
Yeah, Pierre or something.
He made
Into the water on 18.
made a double in the last hole
Yeah.
to get himself out of a playoff
And out of second place.
and out of second.
Finished third. Tied for third, I believe.
It was
Yeah, definitely a big choke on him.
Props to JT though. He did shoot. I think it was 60. He shot 65 final day.
Yeah, and won the 3 non-playoffs. So shout out JT. It's good to have him back in the game. I always like him. It's always cool when Americans win the tour, win a champion, just because I don't really have a favorite golfer. Just root for America. First Chile or Spain or Brazil. The one player I hope makes a comeback is fucking Ricky Fowler. I love Ricky Fowler, mainly because of his drip, but I still love him.
One thing I'm going to bring up from a couple weeks ago. We mentioned Scotty Scheffler.
No,
in our 2-minute drill.
yeah,
We said, is he the new biggest?
yeah.
He missed the cut this week.
No, not even close too. Like it was bad.
Yeah, he played bad.
I think he was like plus 10. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that up there, but it was bad.
Well, yeah, but I mean, hey, shout out Tiger.
Shout out Tiger.
Yeah, he made the cut.
Made the
2
cut.
back-to-back cuts after almost being leg amputated. Shout out Tiger. I don't care what anybody says, but thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. We really do appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, be a friend, tell a friend, interact with us on Twitter. We're on there. We're dropping spicy tids, little tibbies, little twitties up here. We're going to be talking about, obviously, NBA playoffs, anything else happening in the sports world. As always, though, thanks for hanging out. We really do appreciate it, guys. And we may or may not be on Spotify soon. Ooh. We may or may not be on Spotify.
I can't keep dropping these.
I'm just saying, we gotta drop it. We got a new condo. We're renting the space out. We might be on Spotify. I'm just just stay tapped into us. But as always, John, you got anything to say to people before we go?
So let us know in the comments section which song named after NBA players you like better, Mo Bamba or Do the John Wall. There is the correct answer. There's the correct answer.
Will, what do we like here?
We like Do the John Wall.
We do like Wall, but you got anything to say to people before I let you go?
No.
Nothing to say to people?
No.
Nothing to say to people. Ryan, you got anything to say to people?
Shout out the NBA refs.
Shout
Shout
them
out to Scott Foster, doing a great job.
My homie, Scott Foster.
I don't have anything to throw at the camera. Give me a second. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. We really appreciate it. The only thing I got to say, skate fast, eat ass. We'll see you next week.
Peace.